There's an oh, so come on, let's play. Forget the rush you're in and find a good spot. Sit down and join us as we sing a good song. Keep back, relax, and just follow along. Oh, we got plenty of time. Taking it easy won't cost you a dime. Throw another log onto the fire. Because oh, it's a beautiful day. And oh, come on, let's play.
Hey, welcome back to Woodruff Woods. Hey, I'm Darren, and this is my niece Kennedy.
Hello.
She's living down in Philadelphia now, right? Mm-hmm. And originally from the Allentown area. Mm-hmm. Well, originally from Lewistown. That's where you were born. So
Yeah.
You and Dallas both were born in Lewistown. How about that? I didn't realize that until just now. But she's here visiting. Lisa and her sister and Kennedy and Dallas. We're going to be out camping this weekend, but due to thunderstorms rolling through, they camped in our house. So so anyway, Kennedy wanted to come down here and check out the operation that I use for Woodruff Woods. And she's actually pursuing her doctorate right now. So what are you pursuing it in?
I'm pursuing my doctorate in physical therapy.
And you're getting pretty close to the end, aren't you?
Yep, got about 2 months left.
And you will be a doctor at that point.
I will.
So, you know, in this firewood community, many of us are at least middle-aged, if not older. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you know, lifting and turning and twisting and stuff, there's often, you know, injuries or at least aches and pains. Do you have any advice that you would give people?
I absolutely do. So in my experience, my very limited experience here, I noticed that there's a lot of repetitive motion as you're moving wood from place to place. You're picking things up, putting them down literally over and over and over again for up to hours. So something I wanted to talk about is as simple as changing the direction that you're going. So if you're right hand dominant per se, and you always lift to your right side and bring it up to your left, simply go to the other side of the wood and try utilizing the left side as you're bringing it up to the right. Is that something that you think is a very easy thing for anybody to think about? You don't need any equipment, you don't need anything to think about other than simply switching the side that you're working on.
So what about just prepping to lift and turn and twist and do all those things? Is there anything that you would recommend people doing to loosen up?
Yes, absolutely. So rotation takes place in multiple planes. So if we're lifting something up and down, we're only working in the sagittal plane. So that's front, up, and down.
Did you get that? Sagittal plane.
And
I know what that is.
Yeah, right. So when you're rotating, so when you're picking something up, you have to use your core for that rotational power, and you've got to start in 3 different planes, so transverse, sagittal, coronal, all those different planes. We can get into that later if you're really interested in the details, but you're gonna
I'm not sure the firewood community is ready for all these planes.
That's fair. All you really
Most
need
of
to
us
know,
think a plane is something that flies. So.
it's also how your body moves. So what you're gonna do in rotation is you're gonna come down in one plane and you're gonna switch to another plane. So your body has to be strong in both of those planes. And as you're working through that rotation, you have to warm up muscles in different ways that they move. So simply doing something that would warm up your rotational core by engaging the core. So like suck it in your stomach like you're putting on a tight pair of pants, and then kind of twisting all the way back and forth. Even if you're not going to do that entire motion when you're lifting something, this is a really important thing to protect your spine, which is inherently stable, so you're not going to have any issues regarding that. But you want to support the spine with the muscles around you, or with the muscles around it, by warming up in a rotational motion.
So one of the things that you do in the woodyard a lot is lift. You're always lifting a block of wood, or actually those wedges are quite heavy on these. As a matter of fact, I cheat. I use the tractor. It doesn't have to, really do anything with its planes.
Yeah.
It just lifts it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, is there something you can recommend to warm up for lifting?
Absolutely. I mean, you can just do a body squat. So as you're coming down, I don't know if you can see my whole body, but as you're coming down, push the knees out, sit the hips back. Always put the weight towards your heels, because if you're leaning forward, it puts a little extra pressure on the vertebrae in your spine. So you want to keep a flat back, and you want to keep the shoulders tight. And by shoulders, I mean shoulder blades here, so they want to be squeezed in the back. As you're lifting down, you want to keep those engaged. So something that you can do for that is simply stand and squeeze the shoulder blades back and forth, because that's not a motion that we often associate with lifting. Normally we're here. This is called protraction of the shoulder blades. This is retraction, and this is where you want to be. You want to keep the shoulders within the socket, and that's not something people think about a lot when they're lifting. They're like, oh, I'm lifting with my legs. All I need to do is lift with my legs. Doesn't matter what my back and my shoulders are doing, but it really does, especially because our shoulders just, as we age, so do they.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people get muscle aches, and I mean, the worst case scenario would be you had a spinal injury or something, but I think most of us just suffer from like lower back pain, or like you say, upper shoulders, because there is a lot of work up here, especially running a chainsaw. Yeah. You're holding 20 pounds out there, and you're lifting it hundreds of times a day. So anything that you noticed while I was using the chainsaw as potentially would be a good tip for folks?
The only thing I was thinking of was that it is always repetitive on that one side. I don't know if you can switch hands when you're using it.
You really
if it's more
can't.
Of a dominant.
You really can't. There is something that they make called a wraparound handle, which you might be able to do that, but then it gets in the way, for certain tasks you do with the chainsaw. It's great for felling a tree. It's not so good for what I was doing.
Okay. Well, for that, I would just suggest like an active warm-up. So that's something where you're moving instead of just doing a static stretch. And then at the end, I would do static stretching. So active moving warm-up before you use the chainsaw or other equipment, and then a dynamic stretch or a static stretch afterwards. And a static stretch is just something like this, and a dynamic or active stretch would be like coming up over the head, some arm circles, things like that. That way you're getting the muscles warm before you use them, and then once they're in that lengthened position, you keep them there so that when you go back after you're done, you're not utilizing them in a harmful place, if that makes sense.
So really just basic calisthenics is really what you need to do, just to try to stretch those muscles out and warm them up. And, as we get older, I guess we just got to warm our engines a little bit more,
Yes,
right?
you absolutely do, because the tissue gets a little stiffer as you get older, so it's imperative that you're consistent about the active warm-up and the static stretch afterwards. Otherwise, you're more likely to have an injury, just because it's like an old rubber band. If you stretch it and it's really old, it's just boop. Yeah. And that's where a lot of people can find themselves in trouble.
And stuff like that. Yeah. So, when we work in the woodyard, a lot of times, we're kind of bulls. We go and we go and go. Yeah. Is there a recommended period of time where you should rest?
Listen to your body. Everybody's different. Everybody has different muscular structure. There's so generally we take like an hour on, maybe take 15-20 minutes off, and make sure you're stretching after you do that entire hour, so that when you get back into it, if you want to keep going, that your muscles are still primed and ready. There's not really a set time that you need to be done. I mean, if your shoulder's starting to ache an hour in and you're like, I really gotta put some cream on it, I gotta rest it, whatever, pick a different task in the woodyard that maybe doesn't utilize your shoulder as much. Give that muscle a break, because fatigue is real, and then go back to it whenever you feel ready.
Just from working in manufacturing my entire life, most of our injuries come when people are fatigued. They come at end of shifts, or in the night shifts are more prominent with injuries. So I think as we get tired, we tend to get more careless as well, and especially we're using some dangerous equipment here, and it's important. So, well, thank you for this. Is there anything I missed in questioning you?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much encompasses it. Just take care of yourself. Make sure that your body mechanics are appropriate. Lift close to the body when you're lifting. Keep things close.
Do you want to demonstrate that? I can put Lisa
Absolutely.
behind the camera.
Sure.
And I have a nice piece of, it looks like a silver maple.
All right. So if I'm lifting this from the ground, I'm going to start with what we should do, and then I'll go into some common mistakes. So generally, like I was saying, sit the hips back, my weight's in my heels. As I'm coming down to lift the wood, I bring it close to my body, and then I push, 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 push with my legs. I'm going to show that one more time. Also, now I'm going to highlight my shoulders. So remember, we're not lifting from all the way out here. I'm coming down into the squat. My shoulder blades are back. You can see that my arms aren't out here. My spine is not rounded. I'm here, and I squat up, up, up. My shoulder blades stay back the entire time, and you can bring it as close to your body as you want. Common mistakes that I see, so don't do these at home. Lifting like this, my spine is rounded, my shoulders are out. This is going to put a lot of pressure on my vertebrae in the back. Another common mistake I see, and this could generally happen if you've got bad knees or if you lift a certain way, is coming down on one knee and then hoisting up with one arm. That's going to put so much rotational pressure on the left side. There is a way you can do this, and that's similarly by lifting with the shoulders retracted. So now I have it close to my body. I come back to the squat position, and I'm coming up. Now I'm only 25, so I can do that. If that's not something that you can do, there's some other options. And then there's also, I don't know what this is called.
This is a log splitter.
No, the lift.
The lift?
Oh, log lift, yep.
You can also use things like that to help you get up to a position where you're here. And if you're reaching for the wood, see how I'm in this position? I've got my weight back, my weight is in my heels, my legs are engaged. My shoulder blades are back, even though my arms are extended, and I'm bringing the wood here. Instead of, oh, my back is flexed, my spine is rounded, my shoulders are out here, and then I'm pulling it in, causing more pressure on the back of the spine. So I think that's pretty much the general gist of how to lift with proper body mechanics.
So now I'm going to throw everything off for you.
All right.
So a lot of times we use tools like this, which we just pick up like that, which, they figured out many years ago that was an easier way than bending down.
Yeah.
Likewise, this can be used to pull it off of the lift into the cradle as well. Right. So, there are other tools to be used as well. Yeah. But this is really good. I know I don't lift perfectly every time either.
Neither do I.
I mean, it's just, you have to be reminded all the time of it. So, well, thanks, Kennedy. That's really good. You actually might have learned something in college.
I think I did, yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get back to working, and hope you'll stick around and see what we're up to. So thanks, Kennedy. Thanks for that. That hopefully will help some people out. Good advice for all of us as we go through our day in the wood yard. But right now I'm back over at the pond. I'm going to begin the process of pumping this pond down a bit. I bought something from Harbor Freight I'm going to show you that I think is going to help us, get this all straightened out. So I bought this sprinkler. It's got kind of like a fire hose nozzle on it. 100 foot of discharge hose. I thought when we planted grass here I'd use it to water it out of the pond, but we're gonna get an early use of taking this down. So here we go. We left that nozzle off. We've got our intake hose here, discharge hose coming off. We primed the pump. We're gonna run it right down towards the creek here. Really don't need 100 feet of hose for this, but that's what we've got. So I'm gonna get this little Harbor Freight pump started, and we'll see how she does. Go ahead. This pump will pump about 10,000 gallons an hour. So I think a couple hours and we should be in a better situation here. So we'll check back later. So hey, that's gonna wrap it up for Woodruff Woods. We went down probably, I'd say 3 or 4 inches in just a little over an hour. So as it goes down, obviously it'll go down quicker, but a lot of water to take out of here. So pretty sure I've probably taken out at least 10,000 gallons at this point. And like I said, we're only down a little bit. But I'd like to take it down a few feet. I just fueled up again, and I'm gonna let that run probably until dark. I might try to set it up so it has a natural siphon as well. It'll at least keep going down overnight, because I have, as you know, I have pretty good spring feeding this. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.